This time, the president is saying we're not going to the IMF, and he's saying this at a time when we're seeing all the indicators trending towards a positive direction, and then also the economic rebound that we are seeing now.
Abusia, mamena wase na mema wakwaba. Menim se sadi we mahye nso a. Obu se nipa wo ho na da sika ebeba obutumu no. Asa ni jesu nko bi aba wo mu na wani mu aye sele. Me hu ni se sa na His Excellency John Dramani Mahama sisi yi o fili. Sisi ano so o kasa ase honhum bi aba be hye ni mu a o kasa ewo kokuduro eso His Excellency wenye wanyie na nasem nyina o ka e di a kire Ghana fo ene se IMF ada bia na yekom hokoko sile sika ede be yo man Ghana yie no sisi ya Ghana yenko IMF biem because yan kasa yewo ajapade ya betume ede abo oman no ehombra megidi se we eye asem papa sisi ya His Excellency o kasa utimi hu se tumi bi ewo ne mu because nipa sika ewo ho a unsuro bibiara mayenko na enkohwe video bi TV3 omodi aba bonten nientie ma His Excellency o kase yenko IMF biem inioma waye inioma ogusu eye ene ne o babeye na wohwe sa video no ewia me pese wo comment section ho na wo rate His Excellency John Dramani Mahama because when you 1 year out of 10 ya kase rate na say ena wode ebema no menua na ono hankasa so His Excellency obabedi nkomo bi me pese yeti asem na o ka no na yewia me de TV3 for in-depth analysis na omoye no me de atoa so e de amon na wo hwe video ni nyina ewia na comment section ho na wa kire wa bi uwie nso wunya unsubscribe ya besrew say obe subscribe like video we na share ma wuni bi no so onya bi enwe yakopon hira ho na onka ho ya hwe video so no emra yakoba ye beto aso me da wase.
Rest on a productive, diversified and resilient economy, one that is capable of withstanding shocks while creating opportunity for all. Our development model must decisively move away from excessive dependence on raw material exports towards value addition, industrial production, and knowledge-based enterprise. We will roll out a policy this year that requires value addition to our minerals, to our petroleum and agricultural products before export. It is in this context that my government has placed the 24-hour economy and accelerated export development program at the heart of our reset agenda. This program is not a slogan, it is a structural transformation strategy to extend productivity beyond daylight hours, deepen manufacturing, support logistics and agro-processing, and create millions of decent jobs across the value chain. This can only be achieved in an environment that is conducive to investment. And this is why my administration has moved quickly to implement the urgent reforms that are required to stabilize and grow our economy. We've achieved measurable success, including a stable currency, touted as the best performing in the world for the year 2025, inflation falling from 23.8% at end of 2024 to just above 5% by the end of 2025. Debt falling from above 66% to GDP at the end of 2024 to 45% of GDP at the end of 2025. And foreign reserves rising from $8.9 billion at the end of 2024 to $13.8 billion at the end of 2025.
This time, the president is saying we're not going to the IMF, and he's saying this at a time when we're seeing all the indicators trending towards a positive direction, and then also the economic rebound that we are seeing now. He hinges his hope on a number of things, but let's remind ourselves exactly why we have gone to the IMF over the period. This is our 17th time, by the way, and this is it. First, balance of payment support. external payment obligations to shore up dwindling foreign exchange reserves, stabilizing the Ghana cedi, and that's why we see the $3 billion that has been disbursed over time with different tranches and specific amounts disbursed after each review, okay? And then we see the fiscal consolidation as one of the key reasons as well that we go to the IMF. The objective of restoring government finances, reducing budget deficit through measures like controlling spending. And that's what we're seeing now. The austerity we're seeing now, which has also contributed to the economic rebound. These are some of the measures. And then also the conditionalities that the IMF introduces when we go to them to whip us in line, improve our tax collection system, manage public debt, controlling spending, all of this to ensure that we're able to revamp and revive the economic fortunes, get back into line. Debt sustainability is one of the reasons as well that we run to the IMF, because then to borrow, and then we're not able to meet our obligations, leading to defaults, and then we have to restructure debts, and guess what? The citizens are the ones who bear the brunt. Remember this DDEP that we had to go through. We had old people talking about pensioners having to picket for their money. Those dark periods that we've had to endure, all of this, macroeconomic stability, and then also the measures put in place to withstand the shocks. You hear the president talk about building an economy which will be able to withstand external shocks, because it's important. We are in a country that is import-driven, import-reliant. And so whenever there's something happening on the international market, on the external front, we are directly impacted. In fact, fuel prices now, we're seeing it doing well because we've seen prices of crude oil going down in terms of pricing on the world market because of a lot of the geopolitics that we're seeing. But also the currency, we've seen always we're assessing the strength of the currency against the dollar. Why? Because of our import-driven economy, as we have seen. Well, there's a talk about the import substitution so that we can have the economy within our own hands and predictable. Economic management is one. Poor fiscal discipline, including pre-election spending. And the president says that he's made that commitment. He is not going to preside over a government that would sway. Of course, when they get into an election period in 2028. This is a statement he made as well today at the New Year school. We have it, we'll keep it. If it happens to the contrary, we'll remind him of it. But Joe Jackson is joining us on Zoom right now. He's a financial analyst and CEO of Dalex Finance. Mr. Jackson, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. You heard the president make this clear statement. His hope and expectation is that this is going to be the last time we'll go to the IMF for any intervention or support. He says he's going to do that by building an economy that's resilient. How did this desk you?
Listen, feasible, yes. Likely, no. Why do I say it's feasible but not likely? The issue really simply is this. If we don't commit to fundamentally reforming our economy, if we don't commit to disciplined behavior, less corruption, then we'll end up with the IMF one more time. The issue is not whether whether we can say we won't go or we will go. The issue is simply this. We go to the IMF, they hold a big stick over us, we are disciplined. What do? We get back to correct behavior, life is good. Very rapidly, we forget about the behavior that took us to the IMF. We throw away the discipline. We behave like alcoholics that are addicted to borrowing, addicted to splurging on consumption. what then happens? We fall into trouble again, and we keep running, cap in hand to the IMF and say, we beg. We will not go to the IMF only if we are disciplined. We will not go to the IMF only if we change the economy fundamentally and we learn from the mistakes of the past. So long as we keep forgetting the mistakes of the past, so long as we throw away discipline and go for popular consumption-based borrowing, hey, forgive me, but we'll be back with the IMF. The president says he hopes this will be the last time. If he continues in this wave of discipline shown by his Minister of Finance, shown by his governor of the central bank, then in the 3 years left, we can guarantee we won't go to the IMF again. But if that discipline is thrown away, we will end up with the IMF faster than we left. So it's up to us as Ghanaians. You don't want to go to the IMF, be disciplined. You don't want to go to the IMF, learn from the mistakes of the past. You don't want to go to the IMF, start undertaking the fundamental reforms of this economy, the difficult decisions that have to be taken to make sure that we don't go there and beg again.
So essentially, whether or not we go to the IMF is in our hands, it's directly within our control. And you talk about all these indicators in the right direction, the president committing to ensure that this is done. He says he's hoping to build that economy while he's in office over the next 3 years ahead of him. But whether or not this is going to happen is directly within our hands, is it not?
It is in our hands. It is here. We can either decide to do the right thing or we can decide to grab. It's up to us.
I see. But you talk about the difficult decisions that has to be taken and then the structural reforms that have to be in place to ensure that indeed this hope and the expectation that the president has, as noble as it is, will be achieved, that we would control the fortunes of our economy and not go to the IMF for help after we've messed up. Do you see indications of these difficult decisions being taken, the structural reforms that you talk about, any indication that it's being done or will be done within his tenure while he's president?
I must say that the 24-hour economy document promises hope of the structural reforms that we're talking about. It is yet to be executed. And if you are hopeful like I am, then we are hopeful that it will be executed and those changes and structural reforms will start. So that's where my hope comes from, that this 24-hour slogan will be turned into proper reform of this economy, such that we start to feed ourselves, such that we start to export more.
I've pledged to raise our economy and governance to a level that no succeeding government can reverse. In a region where democracy is backsliding, we must demonstrate that democracy works. I can assure Ghanaians also that we will not relax the current fiscal discipline and efficient management of the economy, even in the election year of 2028. It must be the 17th and the last time that Ghana goes for a bailout from the IMF.
Mama na wasi yakwa video naba na Ghana ni bia wo ye oman bapa no ne mpai ba wobo ene se oman Ghana ebekọ nanim. In say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama wodi hihye papa bi agu akwan mu na se Ghana yetumi atwenye ho e de free IMF ho a megidi se eyasemba pa o Ghana ni bia e wo se wani etumi agi yebebo o moba so na ya hye o modern se o monkoso na o mombo adwuma emfa mua oman Ghana na se oman no eyeyi a ye nyina ene ebe benefit enye NDC na se NPP yes ye na ene be benefit intimia just go to the comment section now also chill wadwi unya and subscribe ya answer na be kono subscribe na like video we share ma unu be no so unya bi ewe be da wase nyankopon hira me de wo ebisi elim sisi ye de makra bye bye